Hello, hello. I am so excited today to be here with April Roberts. April is a business coach for female business owners and spiritual healer. She is fantastic. I had the pleasure to meet her a couple of months ago and be part of her podcast, be a guest on her podcast. And she so gracefully agreed to me interviewing her. And the reason being is because she's an expert in all things business, finances, spiritual healing. I mean, she's a wealth of knowledge and experience. And I wanted her to talk to you a little bit about how to manage the feminine energy when it comes to business. I know that is a question that shows up a lot in my practice, and she's the expert on that. So I figured let's do it. Hi, April. Thank you for being here.
Hi, Natalia. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
How exciting. We are going to have so much fun. So, you want to talk a little bit about yourself, how you came to do this kind of work, and
Yes.
take it from us.
It's actually interesting you're talking about feminine energy because I started my career as a corporate attorney at the largest firm in Atlanta on the business litigation team. So my life was the complete opposite of feminine energy, right? And it's so funny because I swear they hired me because, I looked like a Southern girl and I had an expensive suit on. Like they wanted me to play the part of the feminine energy, but they wanted me to operate in the masculine. So, and of course, when you're 25 and young and naive, you don't understand all this. Like looking back, I can see. So, I mean, as with most like high paying, high powered jobs, the expectations are very unrealistic, right? And, it's the choice if the benefits are worth what you have to trade. So for me, it was interesting because pretty quickly I just saw like the partners, this was back in like 2001 to 2003, and like the partners, made $1 million plus, which I mean it's always great to make $1 million, but in that time that was like a lot of money. Like that was like, wow, how can you be a partner in a law firm and make that kind of money? And I was like, okay, cool, I'm in the right place. But then when I would like email one partner at 3 a.m., because I was a second year attorney, right? That was my job to work at 3 a.m. And he would respond back. I don't know. I started getting these whispers like, I don't want my life to look like that. Because at that time, I planned to have kids, I planned to have a family, like lots more aspects to my life. And I understood early on that I didn't think that was a sustainable path for me. I didn't understand the masculine and the feminine yet, but luckily I was like intuitive enough to be like, I just don't think this is how I want to live my life, right? So number one, anytime you have those whisperings come up, it's usually your feminine intuitive energy showing you that something's not aligned for yourself. And it's very easy. You got to remember everyone I knew lived that same lifestyle because there were 50 of us hired at the same time. So all my friends had the same job I had. So it's very easy to get stuck in this tunnel of you should operate this way, which is, a linear masculine analytical mode. And, just listen to yourself. And so I like to share that. So anyway, I went on, I got married. I realized how my career was affecting the man I loved. And I was just like, I can't do this. We moved to Italy. He was Italian. That also didn't work for me because it didn't feed the part of me that wanted to be accomplishing things, right? So I got to be too much of the feminine energy over there. And so anyway, fast forward when I got divorced, that's a whole nother story. But I came back to the US and I started practicing law again. And then I actually went to my dad's dinner seminar. He was a financial planner doing retirement planning, which is what I ended up doing. And he would give dinner seminars. That's how he got his new clients. And his his assistant, his executive assistant was sick, and he was like, "Oh no, I have no one to help me run the seminar." I was like, "Oh, Dad, I'll come do it." And I really just did it to hang out with my dad and because I thought it'd be fun. And so, I greeted everyone as they came in, and I sat them and I chatted them up. And then the next day, he's like, "Can you call and schedule appointments?" Well, Natalia, we got 100% appointments scheduled. And it was just because I just thought it was fun and I was chatting and connecting, right? Which is the feminine energy. And so I pause there because we women are better at sales than men, yet it scares us. Because if you think of sales as connecting, building relationships, being in the flow, this is all feminine energy, right?
Wow, 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 wow. That is incredible. I love it. I absolutely love it. Oh, so much. So I love how your intuition was so clear from a very, very young age, and you decided to follow it and go to Italy and try that. And I'm sure that was a lot of fun. And then
Yeah.
coming back and starting to do business with your father, that is also really challenging because there are so many nuances in those relationships. And the fact that you managed to book 100% of the room. That is huge. That is huge. And I love how you say that that's a feminine energy because it's the connecting, it's the subtleness of creating a connection more than hard sales. That's what I get. So I love it. Keep it coming. So what happened after that?
Yeah. So if you think about it, I wasn't even working there at that point. Right. And then my
Oh,
dad, as a thank you, was like, "Hey, I have this trip to West Palm Beach. Do you want to go with me?" And the trial I was working had just settled. So I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take a free trip to West Palm Beach. We're staying at the Breakers. Amazing. I'm just going to go shopping." And we get down there and it rained. So I went to the meetings with my dad, and then I saw what he did and how he really retirement planning is painting this bright future for someone, right? And as a litigator, I inherited companies' problems. So, like, it wasn't fulfilling my soul anymore, even though I liked the mental aspect of the work. And so, again, my soul spoke up and was like, "No, no, we want to do this work." And I want to touch on how you talk about my intuition. I think I always look at my 18-year-old self, and I think I was much more wise at 18 than I am now because I did do everything intuitively. And to be fair, life happens to you, right? I mean, I went through a divorce, I left my career, I went to work with my dad, and then I moved to Houston and opened up my own financial practice. And suddenly you have employees, you have hundreds of clients. Then my parents joined my business, and you have all this responsibility, and you like stop listening to your intuition. This happens often, right? Like, I would listen to it, but like, I mean, and plus I got taught how to run a business because I ran a multiple seven-figure business, and the typical business teaching is very linear, very analytical, look at the numbers, run by the numbers, very masculine energy, right? And so what happened was when I started my own financial practice, I doubled every year because I was just doing it intuitively. And then someone came to teach me how to run a business, which thank goodness they did because I might have lost my sanity, but they flipped me the whole other way, like into the masculine, analytical, numbers driven. And then it got icky and I didn't like it anymore. That's like the best way I could explain it. I was like, why did this suddenly get so hard? Right. And so what I learned the hard way is, yes, I need these numbers. I need KPIs. I need to see like this many people book from the seminar, this many people come in for appointments, this many people become clients, because it's like the indicator of the health of your business. But then I could use my intuition when the numbers were off, right? So I even had like my advisors when I trained them to do, I could see how many first appointments they had, how many second, how many third, which is when people became clients. And
yeah.
so one of my advisors couldn't get them past the first, and she was very like masculine analytical. And I was like, "Okay, I need you to chat them up a little bit more." So we had to work on her connection communication skills. And then I had an advisor who'd get them all the way to the third, but they wouldn't become clients. And so I realized I had to teach her how to ask for the sale. So it's really this dance of flipping between the masculine and the feminine, right? Because I think we can all agree men are better than we are asking for the sale. That's why we think we're bad at sales, but we're actually excellent at it. We just get to the finish line and then we like freeze.
Yes, yes, it does feel a little bit scary
Yeah.
from the female part. Wow, I love it. So let me ask you a question. Let's say, so you have learned a lot through the years. You have been doing this for a long time, and you
Yes.
finally found your middle ground now. You
Yeah.
are very happy where you are at, and you decided to teach other women to do it this
Yes.
way. So, what will you say to a woman that is that it's having a hard time letting go of the idea of being in control? Like
Mhm.
like embracing the idea that being in her feminine energy in her business will actually help her with the business. It's very scary for most strong, powerful boss babes to let go of control because they got where they got thanks to that tenacity, that driven, that following up, working so many hours, and how all of a sudden, they start to, and at the same time, that leads to burnout
Yeah.
because
Yes. 100%.
all that is fueled on testosterone, and we really don't do very well on that.
No.
So, what have you found that is the first step that they could make when they decide to shift, to start using your model in their business?
They have to come. Here's the beauty. Here's why I love working with women. Women are very wise. They just need to be given the space and the grace to come to their realization of what they already know, right? And so I say, and I know you do the same thing in your coaching because I'm a client of yours. Like a lot of what I do is hold space for them with a gentle guiding. And I am an 8 Enneagram, so I'm a challenger. So I like to lovingly challenge them, right? So if a client was having a hard time letting go of control, I would probably say, what if your control was keeping you from, what you were really meant to do, right? Because I like to, everyone has different beliefs. I believe in God. I talk to God all day long. And I mean, what God has envisioned for me is so much grander than anything I can imagine. That if I'm controlling the outcome, I feel I am limiting myself because there's something so amazing out there for me that I don't even know is waiting, right? So if I'm in control, I'm actually keeping myself from my destiny. And I know that I understand this. I think you understand if you're new to this journey, because this did not come overnight to me, right? That could be almost like, oh my gosh, I can't even comprehend that. And I get it. And that's why we have to hold space until, if I have a client until they have their own realization. And some of them are hungry enough that out the gate they have it. And some of them it takes a little bit of time. And both are fine, right? Like it's meant to happen when it's meant to happen. But also, I would lovingly remind them that control is a form of scarcity and fear. And so, scarcity and fear are the opposite of abundance and love. So, if you want abundance and love, we cannot stay in control.
I love it. I love it. And that's so good. Abundance and love is against scarcity and fear. I love it.
Yes.
I always say it's either fear or love.
Yes.
That's
Yes. It's
so amazing. And I really like the fact that you talk about joy a lot. And you are such a joyful woman. Just looking at
yeah.
you are so stinky beautiful. And just
Oh, thank
colors
you.
you wear and the places, your office, everything just exudes joy. The way the sparkle in your eyes, it's so beautiful to see it. I love it particularly. And so you mentioned to me that you do use joy, you activate joy when you are coaching your clients. Is that right?
Yes. And thank you for asking this. It's so funny. In my Facebook group, I posted like, when's the last time you felt pure joy? Because I kicked off this joy challenge. We're having a joy challenge this
Oh,
entire
cool.
month.
The name of your
And
Facebook group?
yes, abundant business women. Hmm. And
Uh,
there. So I give a prize away each week. I just pick someone who posted and shared about joy. And at the end, the person who posts the most is going to get a grand prize. So it's just like fun. And then my challenge that I posted on Christmas Day was, "'Tis the season. Why do we only have joy, peace, and love this season? Let's make it a year round thing," right? Like, why are we keeping it in a season where we're focused on it? And but the first time I posted about when's the last time you felt pure joy, I do that on purpose because when I chat with women either thinking about becoming clients or asking me for advice or becoming clients, 8 out of 10 cannot remember the last time they felt pure joy. I mean, Natalia, that breaks my heart. Like that, like makes me so sad because, they're busy being a mother, a business owner, a wife, significant other, daughter, like all these things we women do. But like you're a human being. You are a beautiful flower of God. You're God's most beautiful creation. That's what women are. We are the only ones who can give birth, right? Like we are amazing beyond belief. And if we are not filling our own cup, I almost think it's like the most horrendous act you can do to yourself, not bringing joy to yourself or happiness. And I say that strongly because our society has conditioned us differently, where we're supposed to give, go, go, go. And this is like the opposite of the feminine energy. And as you mentioned, burnout in the financial industry, 12 years ago, 30% of financial advisors were female. Today, 30% is female. There's no way that no young, amazing women have not joined the profession. That shows me that women in their 30s, 40s,
uh,
50s, just like in law, are saying, you know what, this isn't for me because they have to operate in that masculine grind all the time. And it's a natural burnout for us women. Now, the masculine's important. I call it your GSD energy, right? Get stuff done. Like when you're
okay.
like, okay, I got a deadline, let me go masculine. Like,
I
but
love
like
it.
your creativity, planning your business, flowing through your day should be your feminine energy.
I love it. GSD, get stuff done. I love it. I really like the fact that you mentioned that the 30%, the percentages of women doing business consistently long term. It happens also on the medical field with doctors. It's also really, really hard to be consistent over time.
Mhm.
And there is a way to do it,
Yeah.
but it's something has to change. And I think that's why we need trailblazers like you teaching a new way of doing things that plays with our strengths and allows us to tap into our natural abilities.
Mhm.
And uh, and I know you are another thing I admire about you is your ability and willingness and the happiness that you have about hiring people to help you. How you say that? Delegating.
Delegating. Yeah.
Couldn't think of the word. And that's something that it's also, are you naturally good at that? Or it's this one of the shifts you made that you realized that doing it all, being it all was just going to burn you down like crazy?
That's a great question. So, I will say one thing. I was blessed that I grew up in a house. Apparently, my mom had terrible postpartum depression after she had me, and I'm the oldest of three. And the story is my dad came home and everything was turned upside down in the house. And he was like, oh my gosh, let me figure out how I can help my wife. And it turned out that she really hated doing things around the house. And, this was way before people. And my dad's like, okay, I need to find someone else to clean the house and someone else to do this. If like my wife's going to be happy, I'm going to have a happy marriage and we're going to like raise a family.
Both men.
Yes. And so, I mean, I did grow up in a household and we were not well off by any means. I mean, we were we were middle class, like upper middle class for South Mississippi, not compared to the rest of the country. But I mean, we always had a housekeeper, we had someone doing our laundry. So both my parents are entrepreneurs, my grandparents were entrepreneurs, so I had the benefit of growing up in an environment where I saw this,
Oh,
right? It was kind of normal to me. And so that's one of my proudest moments when I talk my clients into, could you please hire someone to clean your house? Could you please hire someone? Like, let's figure out your hourly rate in business. We'll make a good logical decision. And if somebody can clean your house for less than your hourly rate, why are you cleaning your house? Because
wow.
you can actually employ someone who is happy to have the job. It frees your time up to do what you actually enjoy and makes money for you, or spend more time with your family or rest. And that's just one example. I mean, right now I just finally got a personal assistant. I've never had a personal assistant. I did have a housekeeper that would do stuff, and it's amazing. She comes every morning and I just give her all the stuff I don't want to do, like changing my utilities over and everything. And like, it's not an ideal time for me to hire someone. I will share. I just moved, like, we're launching things in the business. I have a fairly new business that we're looking to go to the next level. I could be like, oh, I can't spend this money. Oh my gosh, to tell you, it is the best thing ever. First of all, she's the perfect match because her energy is great for being in here. But like, like that was my gift to myself for Christmas. I was like, I want a personal assistant. Like, this is what I'm doing.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous. I love it. Congratulations. Now,
Thank
you
you.
said something very interesting that she's a perfect match, perfect energetic match, I believe you said.
Yeah.
That is something that personally I'm going to be vulnerable right now. That's
Yeah.
something that I struggle. And
Yeah.
so I am a feminine energy based dating coach and relationship coach, but I'm just human. So I do struggle with that. I am very particular the way I like to do things. And it's hard for me to hire somebody because I don't really think they're going to do things as I want them to do it. So it's really admirable what you did. Even that you were surrounded. I also grew up with housekeepers
Yeah.
and families of an entrepreneur. But I struggle with that. So I give you maybe your energy will rub on me. I'm gonna hire a housekeeper for sure.
Good,
I'm
good.
going
Like, we should talk.
to-
Well, I changed my mind. I have to be honest, when I was a financial advisor and I'm surrounded by men, and like I remember one time this man, like, what are you talking about? You have a housekeeper. And he was just giving me crap. And I just looked at him and I said, yeah, I don't think you clean your house. Doesn't your wife clean your house plus homeschool your four kids plus make sure you're fed? Like, I don't have
Yeah.
anyone. Like, don't give me your stuff. Like, people, for some reason, this is their favorite thing to throw in your face. And honestly, I went to Indonesia for a spiritual retreat, and I have a lot of Indonesian friends in Houston, from my spiritual practice. And so when I went over there, one of my friends had moved back and she was like, oh, I'll come pick you up. Let's go do this. And then she's like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, they had three people working in their house because that's like the norm there. And over here, she did everything. And I'm like, this is insane. We live in the United States, like arguably the most wealthy entrepreneurial country in the world. And societally, it's not acceptable for you to hire people to like do things around your house or make your life simpler. Like, in my opinion, you're just adding to the economy and making this person's life, like, my housekeeper in Nashville, like, helped me pack and everything, and she hugged me. She's like, I'm gonna miss you. You made such a difference to me, my family, and my life. Like, you are adding to people's lives when you do this, right? And, that was beautiful that she did that, because often they don't articulate well how you're adding to their life. So
Right.
you just have to know that. But like, I don't know, it's a shift of perspective, because there's a lot in Western culture that I think is unfair to women. Like, we can't be all the things. We can't be the sexy significant other, the amazing mother, the awesome business owner. Like when we're wearing all these hats, we fail ourselves. And so we have to decide, okay, which hat is just not for me, right? Like, which one am I going to give up and not participate in? Because, it's a lot.
Slow clap. Yes, I'm sold. Thank you. Yes. And like you said, it's just self-care because it's a dark cloud in our head, all the things we have to do that we hate doing, like for me, it's the house chores. And I blame it on my parents because we did have housekeepers and all that. So I never had to do it. So I don't know.
Well, and honestly, Natalia, like I'm a little OCD. So if I clean my own house, I have the Q-tip and the grout like around, and I'm like, this is insane. Like it would just
Oh,
never end. Like I
yes.
am definitely a perfectionist when it comes to stuff like that, which I like to say I'm a recovered perfectionist. So it's almost like protecting me from myself. Like, why am I going to do this when I can hire somebody else who's not going to be so crazy about it as I am?
Right. And you have all that time and energy to take care of you,
Yeah.
of your health, your hobbies, your all the other areas. I love it. I love it. I know you have a 5-step, I wrote it down because I knew I was going to forget it, but I am not sure if you have time. You have your signature 5-pillar framework for lasting
Oh, yeah.
success. Is that something that we could tap into it a little bit? And maybe if the ladies want to know more about it, they can contact you.
Yes, because that has a lot to do with the feminine energy and it's built into all the coaching I do. So I wanted to circle back. You asked me about joy earlier. So to
Oh,
give two
yes.
quick tips, one, I like, so all of my clients, I'm like, I want to see your calendar. How are we running our calendar? Like, this is important. And I like it built in a certain rhythm that works for them. So here's an example. I was listening to a podcast with the founder of the Hallow app, and he talked about how he designed it for himself and how he uses it 3 times a day. And I'm like, I pray and meditate morning and night. What if I started doing it middle of the day too? So I took what I was doing, for like an hour in the morning and I divided it up through the day. Oh my goodness. I became like manically happy, number one. Number two, the day flowed better. Number three, I never felt stressed during the day. Like all this magical stuff happened just by shifting the rhythm of my calendar and giving myself more opportunities to pause through the day. I got more done and suddenly my revenue doubled. Like it was crazy. So, here's the thing, if you're scared to do it, just try. You can test it. And if it doesn't work, you go back, right? But how are you building pauses in through your day so you can just be a human being? Like, not jump here, jump here, jump here, right? And especially now, Zoom is almost the worst because we literally get off one Zoom onto the next,
I know.
onto the next. Like sometimes I'm like, happy when someone's late because I get to go to the bathroom, right? Like, I mean, this is crazy and we've done it to ourselves. And yes, it's super productive working remotely, but it's almost more intense because you don't walk to the kitchen to get coffee and talk to your coworkers, right? So you almost have to build that back into your schedule. Like, what can you do so you don't lose your sanity? Because that's masculine energy all day if you're doing this. So that's tip number one. Tip number two would be, like you said, the things you hate. Keep a note, keep notes for a week. I don't care if it's a notepad, notes on your phone, on your computer. For a week, just have 2 columns: activities that give me energy and activities that suck my energy. And I don't care if it's the smallest or biggest thing, like divide it into 2 columns. And the things that suck your energy are the first things you should start trying to delegate, right? Smartly. And then my third tip goes back to joy. You should have joy on your calendar. So, like I said, all my clients, I make sure they have a color coded calendar. If I showed you my calendar, it's like a thing of beauty. It makes me happy to look at my calendar. Like, how many people feel that way? Normally, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to look at what I have to do today. And so this color I have on is like close to my favorite color. It's actually a deeper magenta, but this is the color of joy on my calendar. And so joy has its own color, which is just April's joy, not my niece and nephew's joy, not my parents' joy, not my sister's joy, not whoever I'm dating's joy, not my friends. What makes April joyful? And I make sure I have at least one incident a week on my calendar and then ideally multiple. So when I review my calendar, if I see there's no pink, I take that just as seriously as like scheduling a revenue generating appointment. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's no pink on my calendar. I need to get pink on my calendar. What do I want to do this week? And so I would just challenge you once a week, do it. And then you can increase it as you need or decrease. So I had a client whose father was dying. Her son went off to college. So she was having empty nester. She had a brand new business. Like she and her husband weren't getting along. I mean, it was a lot. And she took this concept and inserted joy every day. For her, pickleball was joy. So she just started playing pickleball every day, like non negotiable. And it literally got her through this period until everything got fixed, like a tremendous grief period.
Right. I love it. I love it, love it, love it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That is very valuable. I don't know, you're a professional podcaster and I do a lot of interviews and I'm always thinking, gosh, I wish the interviews could start at the end, somehow, because it gets more juicy and more juicy towards the end, and I'm afraid that people won't watch or listen until the end.
You can take a snippet from the end and put it at the beginning, the
Well,
hook.
I need Hailey for that. She's the master on that. You're lucky that you have her. Well, thank you so much, ladies. If you want to hear more from April, where can they find you? Do you mind sharing anywhere?
Awesome. Thank you. Well, first of all, I will send you the link to share with this. They can download for free your Vixen CEO calendar, which is like a step by step to making your calendar more effective for your business, but also like to fill your cup better. So you'll see step number 2 is putting joy on your calendar. So if you want a step by step guide to tweak your calendar, definitely download that and check it out. And I have an upcoming masterclass as well, where for 90 minutes we can dig into that. But they can find me in my Facebook group, Abundant Business Women.
Yes.
On all social media, we are at Vixen Gathering, including YouTube, which houses the podcast episodes. And that's VIXEN Gathering, just like the word. Yeah. And so I would love to chat. Feel free. You can directly DM me on any social media or in the Facebook group. I'm the one who runs the Facebook group, just like you run yours. I do that on
Awesome. I
purpose so
am
that I
I
can
am in
interact
your
with my
group and
clients.
it's so valuable, so fun. You're
Thank
always
you.
there. I love it. I feel like you got my back. And ladies, the link for the free gift, which is amazing, I got it, is on the description box of this video. Okay, so you just click there and it's easy. 1, 2, 3, you get it. Thank you so much, April. Such a pleasure to have you. And I'm sure I'm going to have you another time more
Sounds
about
good.
this. It's such an amazing topic, and it makes such a big difference to our quality of lives as women. So I love it. Thank you for empowering women to thrive. Thank you.
You're welcome. One more quick thing, if I may, because I know sometimes when you're I actually call my like webinar from shattered to aligned. And I know most of us aren't shattered, but there's that period where we're pulled in so many directions that we feel like one more thing literally might shatter us, right? And so what we want to do is pull back to aligned. So if you're in that place where you're pulled in all the directions, this could sound like fairy tale what we're talking about, to be fair. And I get it. I've been there. I just want to say that the other day I was doing social media and they were like, oh, well, the day where you're late for everything and your heart is racing. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, it's so foreign to me now because I've taken all these steps, right? So this is what a good coach like you or I do. We compress that journey for people we work with, right? Because we've done it. We took the long way to get there. And so, I see you doing your face because I know same for you. And that's what we do as coaches. We compress that journey. So it's absolutely possible. Same thing if you're thinking about working with Natalia to find the amazing love. I know she's helping me. We've made huge strides. And so I know sometimes it's like, yeah, but, and it really, you can have anything you want if you choose it.
Right. Definitely. Women, we thrive when we are in community. We are not made to be alone.
True.
Historically, we have always helped each other. So it's wonderful when you find your tribe of women. And that's a conversation for another time, but it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Yeah, I love that you said that because yes, we are kind of talking from we are on the app,
Yes.
but took a lot of years for us to get here. And that's why we do this, because we know it doesn't have to take that long.
Yes.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have, with the right guidance and the right support, accountability, and the distance gets a lot shorter. So
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon.
Thank you.